The global shipping crisis reaches its peak as the Strait of Hormuz crisis disrupts vital energy supplies and trade routes worldwide. Amid the escalating Hormuz crisis, international attention now focuses intently on Saudi Arabia's major commercial ports as potential lifelines. With Hormuz effectively choked by ongoing tensions, can Saudi Red Sea ports emerge as a potential viable alternative? Amid disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, global shipping operators are actively pursuing alternative maritime routes to maintain commercial continuity and supply chain operations. As regional tensions intensify, numerous vessels initially destined for Gulf ports have executed course corrections to avoid contested transit zones. Tracking data confirms over 60 vessels have been diverted, with certain carriers returning to originating ports pending revised routing assessments. These supply chain pressures have prompted apprehension regarding potential inflationary effects alongside sustained elevation in global energy pricing structures. Rerouting maneuvers also incur additional costs, including higher fuel consumption, increased insurance premiums, and longer transit times for cargo delivery. Analysts identify Saudi Arabia's infrastructure as a viable contingency to mitigate constraints stemming from the Hormuz transit limitations. The kingdom's east-west pipeline, spanning 12,000 kilometers, channels crude oil to the Red Sea port facility at Yanbu for international distribution. Recent loadings from Yanbu have averaged 4 million barrels daily, positioning it as a responsive export node amid Bloomberg-reported operational data. Jeddah Islamic port emerges as another critical trade conduit on Saudi Arabia's Red Sea coastline, adapting to heightened throughput requirements. Positioned strategically along the western seaboard, Jeddah anticipates substantial increases in vessel arrivals during the unfolding Hormuz constraints. Port authorities project rerouted traffic surges potentially reaching 50% within coming weeks, necessitating expanded berthing and handling capacities. Nevertheless, Saudi Arabia's Red Sea export pathways carry inherent vulnerabilities within the broader Iran conflict context. Tehran previously conducted strikes against a Yanbu refinery operated jointly by Aramco and Exxon, demonstrating reach into alternative infrastructure. Jeddah's coastal positioning similarly exposes it to potential operational disruptions should conflict dynamics expand westward. Further complications could arise should Yemen's Houthis elect to constrain Red Sea navigation through escalated maritime interdiction measures. The Houthis have intensified public statements condemning US and Israeli military actions against Iran, signaling elevated preparedness levels. These developments underscore pervasive risk exposure across Middle Eastern energy infrastructure networks regardless of geographic distribution. The Middle East witnessed another night of heavy tension as Iran carried out its 80th wave of Operation True Promise 4, a large-scale offensive that unsettled multiple countries across the region overnight. Iran's Revolutionary Guard and army coordinated precision assaults using missiles and drones, striking positions and assets linked to both the United States and Israel in a sustained operation. Explosions and sirens echoed across Tel Aviv and northern Israel as Iranian projectiles targeted key areas, forcing civilians into shelters and triggering widespread emergency responses. In an official statement, the IRGC claimed it extended the strikes to hit Israeli satellite reception and communication sites, describing the move as part of a broader strategic retaliation effort. Sirens blared across northern Israel as rockets were fired from Lebanon into Kiryat Shmona and surrounding areas. A house under construction in Kiryat Shmona was damaged by the rocket fire. No casualties were reported. Earlier attacks on central Israel killed 1 person and wounded 12 others, emergency services said. Israel's Magen David Adams said at least 12 people were injured in Bnei Brak and Givat Shmuel near Tel Aviv. The IDF said it issued 12 alerts throughout the evening, warning of incoming Iranian missiles toward Israel. The Israeli army later detected another Iranian ballistic missile launch targeting the city of Eilat. Iranian forces reportedly extended their offensive beyond Israel, launching coordinated strikes on US military positions across several neighboring Gulf nations. Authorities in Kuwait confirmed that armed drones struck a large fuel storage tank at the country's main international airport, triggering immediate firefighting and security responses. Following the incident, flight operations were halted at Kuwait International Airport, with air traffic redirected to nearby Saudi airports as a precautionary measure. Officials noted that the strike was the third major assault on Kuwait's aviation infrastructure since the onset of hostilities, raising concerns over regional airspace safety. Kuwait's Defense Command reported intercepting 13 drones and 6 missiles overnight, highlighting the heightened state of alert in the small Gulf nation. According to Press TV, Kuwaiti officials acknowledged a suicide drone detonated inside a military base hosting US troops, though the extent of the damage remains unclear. Saudi Arabia's air defense system successfully intercepted a ballistic missile and multiple drones over its eastern territories, preventing potential damage to key installations. Reports from the region indicated that several explosions struck a US military facility in eastern Saudi Arabia, prompting an immediate security lockdown and emergency response at the site. In Jordan, police confirmed reports of falling debris after an intercepted missile broke apart in midair, with fragments landing in areas south of the capital, Amman. While no injuries were recorded, Jordanian authorities noted that missile debris has been landing within national borders almost daily since the latest escalation began. Severe explosions were also reported at the US Army headquarters in Bahrain, with initial accounts describing powerful blasts and damage at the facility. The developments unfolded as US President Donald Trump stated that Iran is now desperate to engage in truce negotiations to de-escalate the situation.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.